Alright, what up everybody? This is episode 2 of the podcast. We're thinking of a name, so if you have any great names, comment below and we'll get some ideas from it. But some things I want to announce. I have a merch drop coming on Friday the 4th. If you want to check that out, it'd be appreciated. Follow the Instagram. I'll put all of our Instagrams in the bio or the description below. But yeah, to jump into it, this podcast is going to be about everyone growing at different rates and not comparing yourself to anybody, and we're just gonna probably branch off of that quite a bit. Definitely actually. But yeah, so you guys got any elaboration on?
Yeah, I can start it off. So
Sweet.
I think a really good first rule to kind of start with when thinking about this topic is you have to compare yourself to who you were yesterday. You can't, I mean, it just doesn't work comparing to other people. They're different people. Like, they're not you. They had completely separate circumstances. Like,
Completely.
they're literally quite a different person than you are. So, first and foremost, you have to compare yourself to where you were at yesterday and not where someone else is right now.
It's a great way to put it. Like, social media nowadays makes it so easy to compare yourself to like Dan Bilzerian or like Kylie Jenner, and you're just like, wow, they're living this perfect life, but like, not really. Everyone puts their best side forward. That's what
Exactly.
Social media is just a vision of the good things, to be quite frank. And everyone in life is in a different position. They have a different niche in this world, and it's just pointless to compare yourself to them, like we've been saying. It does you no good.
No good.
That's kind of
that simple.
That's kind of the nature of like just like being social in general. Like, you don't, like, when you meet someone, you don't tell them all the bad things that happen. Like, you don't tell them all your problems. That's just not what you say. Like, people say, "What's up?" You say, "Oh, I'm doing great." "Oh, I'm doing great too." Even if you're not, that's what you say.
It's the most small
Yeah,
talk
Only
ever,
when
yeah.
you really have that developed friendship and you're open.
do you
then
really
you
get
can-
to know people.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you can elaborate your feelings and just pour it on them for them to give you
Yeah,
advice.
like on social media, no one's gonna be posting about their insecurities. No one.
Exactly.
They're gonna be
Most
hiding
people.
them as much as they possibly can, but like,
Yeah.
you can't compare yourself. You just can't. It's not gonna get you anywhere.
I mean, this even ties back to literally what we said last podcast, that you're the only one with the perspective on yourself that you have. Like, you're the only, like, you only know people from the things that they choose to share to you. But you know yourself from all of your thoughts, like every single one of your thoughts, every mistake you've ever made, you know like,
all of them.
Exactly.
All
like,
of them.
You have such a deep perspective of yourself, like, you just can't do, the comparison between you and other people just doesn't work.
Right. This ties into not letting your personal reality define your personality. So with that being said, your personal reality would be like the environment that you surround yourself in, the people that you surround yourself with. So like if you're in a negative situation, that is your personal reality, but you should not be letting that define your personality.
Yeah.
Like, you should not have that negative personality, no matter where you are.
Yeah, you gotta like play the hand that you're dealt. You know, like some people get handed a shitty deck of cards to play from, but you have one option is to make the best of what you're given. You know, so like some people are born like struggling, homeless, have a hard time getting food, but they make it out of it because they took the action every single day to get themselves out of that hole that they were placed in.
Yeah, so let me actually just, because a question just popped into my head, let me just throw it to you guys. So what are some strategies, so to speak, that you might use to not let your personal reality interfere with your personality?
I would personally say that being able to take a step back from the situation and analyze it and recognize that it could be a negative situation, and that negative situation could potentially corrupt your mind into thinking negatively.
Yeah.
So analyzing the situation, figuring out what is happening, and noticing what's happening in your mind first and foremost, so you can get a good idea of what not to be feeling. Like, no negative energy. If it's a situation full of negative energy, just try to be positive.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people should really observe their emotions. Like Ty said, like some people let their emotions define who they think they are. You know what I mean? Like if they're having a depressed emotion, they claim that they are depressed. But I feel like if they took a step back, because I think you are the observer of the thinker, you're not the thinker. So your subconscious throws these ideas into your mind that
Yeah,
you're depressed.
That's an excellent point.
So
Excellent
they're
point.
like, oh, I'm depressed, but really you're observing that something in your environment is making you feel depressed, and you have to figure out what it is that's going to change that feeling.
Mhm.
So if there's this thing called snowball thinking, I'm sure you both know of it, where it's where that one bad thought comes into your brain and then it leads to another one and it leads to another one and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger
Can't escape
and
that.
harder to eliminate.
Yeah.
So if you can notice that first thought when it comes in and just kick it out and be like, I'm not going to waste my time thinking about something that's not going to benefit me or improve me, you'll save a lot of fucking time trying
Oh my god, yeah.
to
Yeah.
figure out that you're depressed. But
And not only will you save time, you'll save your energy.
so
like
much.
negative emotions.
Depression takes so much energy. It takes all of it. It literally takes all of your energy. So if you can just realize that you're the observer of the emotions and try to focus on what you can do to improve your thoughts. Not even change them, just notice what is causing them and avoid those.
Yeah, I think you just mentioned a ton of really great points. I think the snowball effect is the precursor. Well, I'd say it's the reason why self-fulfilling prophecies happen. Like, let's say someone has an idea in their head. Let's say maybe they think they're an anxious person, and they're on their way to the party, and then they're in the car just driving, like having a lot of anxious thoughts. And then one starts, and it's like, okay, that little bit of adrenaline hits you. Then you have another thought.
Yeah.
Then it hits you a little bit more. Then you have another thought, and then it just keeps on going.
Next
So-
thing you know, anxiety.
Right. So
Anxiety.
it's important to catch it. And I think the other point that you said about being the observer, I think that really is how it is, because that's why people have the capacity to actually step back. Is because you really are the observer of things that happen to you. That's what consciousness is, like, at least in one way.
Yeah, definitely. So what you're saying, like driving to a party, people get all these expectations. You know, they're trying to predict the future. They're like trying to plan how they're going to talk to people, what they're going to say. But how many times out of 10 times do you actually predict the conversation going with someone? Like,
Almost never.
The best way to predict your future is to create it.
Just to create it. Yeah, and just like when I'm going to a party, you know, everyone gets a little nervous on the way there, but then you just got to remind yourself, why am I tripping? Everyone's the same as me.
Yeah.
Why? They showed up. I'm just gonna show up and be myself, and however it goes, it goes. You know?
That's the thing. You need to be yourself in every situation, because if you're not yourself, then you're putting on this mask, and that's only upsetting your inner thoughts and inner mind.
Your ego, your inner ego, just fucking it up.
Be yourself all of the time.
Right. I think one of the most important things that you have to do in order to be able to be yourself in, like, social interactions is just not having any expectations. Like, that's just not how social interactions go. Like, that you go with the flow. That's just how they go. Like, they're spontaneous
always
just
go.
by nature. Like, if you're coming in with, like, some kind of structure about how you want something to go, you're gonna have an emotional reaction every time something doesn't go.
Yeah.
Every time something happens that doesn't match up to your expectation, and I think that's the source of a lot of people's anxiety. I mean, to really, like, be yourself in an interaction, like, you've got to really be present in the moment.
You
And if
have
you're
to.
thinking about the future, you're not present in the moment.
You have to constantly be engulfed. Whenever I get these thoughts of the past or the future, I just remind myself that all I'll ever have is this right now.
Right.
Just this right now.
Right.
I would
right.
say that's like my favorite piece of advice that I've heard throughout all of my life is be present in the moment, because first of all, like you said, that is all you have. But when you're looking back on life, like, you can know that you are consciously aware of the present and you can be fulfilled with that.
Yeah,
but
like,
if you
in the
never
moment.
if you never, like, took the time to appreciate the moment, you're like, damn,
I wish
like,
I would've.
time flew by.
Like
I don't know where it went.
when we were in Michigan, I was sitting there in that hammock and I was just like, I am thoroughly enjoying this present moment
Yes.
right now. Like, you have to remind yourself.
That way you
almost.
can look back on it and be like, yeah,
I
I
really
mean,
made the most of it.
made the most of it, and I enjoyed every single bit of it.
Yeah, like when we were sitting up there, we were like, damn, we are single. We have nothing to worry about, nothing tying us down. Like, we were just completely happy because we were right there. That's
Such a feeling of freedom.
dude. It is like almost indescribable. Your whole body just feels like at peace.
Dude.
And it should be like that.
God.
It should be like that all the time. That's the thing. Look, everyone should be thankful for life every single day that they're alive.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of shit that gets thrown at you that makes you.
They're constantly thinking about other stimuli that came into their world, which you have to find the balance between
Gotta
it.
find the
You know, like, prioritize get shit done. You know, you have to be responsible.
Have
but
to be
at
responsible,
the
yeah.
while you're doing those things, while you're being responsible or whatever that pertains to, just consciously be aware of the moment and appreciate it, even if it's a bad thing. Like, you have to have the bad to have the good.
You have
So
to.
appreciate the
You
bad
have to.
because it's only temporary.
And if you don't have bad, how are you gonna appreciate the good? You know, it makes the good.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what it is.
You wouldn't know what's good, what's bad. You just,
Right.
What's the sunshine without the rain?
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
I think a good analogy that really fits into what we're talking about is walking on a tightrope. Like, it really is such a like pristine level of balance that you have to have. Like, and it's really quite easy to sway to either side.
Really
and
easy, yeah.
I mean, people fall off all the time. Like, that's just part of what walking the tightrope is. Yeah, and what you were saying, Ty, I know we talked about this countless times, but the yin yang is just such an important idea because it
perfect balance.
symbolizes so many different things, and it really just simplifies it down into like one picture that literally just is a representation. It's the good and the bad, and then the bad within the good, and then the good within the bad. Like, it doesn't get more accurate than that. That's just how it is. That's really how it is.
It's a perfect balance.
I mean,
Right.
there's a reason this was around for thousands of years. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. It wouldn't last that long if it wasn't
If it wasn't
so
true.
true. If it wasn't so true.
So I made a video the other day about why I don't play video games, and I said because it's like you could be doing so much more productive things with your time, and a lot of people were starting to like be like, dude, what are you even doing TikTok for? And I was just like,
Don't get offended.
It's a whole I was
Like,
trying
don't take things personally.
Yeah,
It's just
and-
your opinion.
I was like, I don't want any of you guys to get offended. I just want you to have a balance. Like, obviously, you can play video games if you want.
Hell yeah.
Don't just waste your whole life playing video games if you're not going to benefit, like, your body, your mind, you know, your financials from your video games. Like, obviously, if it's something that alleviates you, do it, but just balance yourself, you know? Don't waste all of your time staring at a screen, or one day you're going to be pissed at yourself.
Finding the happy medium. Nothing wrong with playing video games.
Nothing wrong. You just got to balance.
Yeah, I think to kind of add on to that, I think semantically the words video games kind of carries with it a bad connotation. Like, a lot of times, like, playing video games, you're actually doing something that will benefit you in the long run. I think there's a lot of situations, I mean, yeah, people waste a lot of time with video games. I think definitely that's how a lot of people choose to waste their time, because we all waste our time in some form or another.
Yeah, we all.
But I don't know, I think, because I used to really think like that, kind of what you just said. I really thought video games were a waste of time, so I stopped playing them for a long time because that's how I thought.
Yeah.
And then I guess just kind of getting closer to my friends that game a lot. I mean, you really got to give them some credit.
Yeah.
Like,
Hell yeah,
you have to.
it's a
You're
lot
good
of
as
fun.
fuck
I
at that.
mean,
It's a lot of fun and dedication
yeah.
too. Like,
and you need to have some leisure time, right?
Yeah,
So
and like Xbox nowadays, it makes it very easy to communicate with your friends that are far away.
exactly.
And you can
exactly.
bond over
It's a
doing
social
something.
thing too.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
whole new
right.
social network.
Yeah, it's like competing. It's with your homies. Like, you're on a
Right.
team. So I mean,
Everyone has a different hobby, dude.
yeah,
like,
everyone has a
most
different
definitely.
hobby.
respect anything.
Gotta
man.
respect it, but it's just me personally. You
Same
know, but
here.
everyone's different.
Same here.
Everyone's different. So I hope people don't take my opinion so like heavily.
Yeah, honestly, just kind of to elaborate this into an idea that I think I've been like trying to think about a lot more broadly recently is just I've been trying to be really careful to not dismiss things. So I think a lot of times when I was younger, I would look at something and I think, oh, that's stupid,
Oh,
or
that's
oh, that's a waste
fucking
of
dumb,
time,
bro.
right?
Yeah.
And I would be so quick to dismiss it. But I think part of the mark of having an open mind is being able to, even when something looks extremely dismissible, to kind of pause for a
Try to
second and,
understand
and think,
it.
okay, well, there's people doing this, so why are they doing it? Like, you hear a song you don't like, okay, well, it's popular.
Why are they listening
There has to
to
be
it?
something about
Dude,
it
yeah.
that's worth considering.
That is
like,
such a great
But
point.
with
Yeah.
everything.
And not enough people are open-minded like that.
Mhm.
If you're just open to every interpretation and you take the time to analyze a situation or, like you said, a song, like, you can find the good within any single thing. Like,
Mhm.
If you look for
even
it.
bad has good. The yin
Right.
yang.
Like,
It's balance.
I hate country music, but I listen to it
I
and
love it.
I
I
lo-
love it. That's
yeah.
the thing.
I'm
Yeah.
neutral.
But, see, I love it because when I was little, I'd go out to my campground and it'd be just such a vibe. We'd be out there on the lake, so it gives me like a nostalgia feeling.
Mhm.
So that, like, that's my background of why I love it.
Yeah.
So you can see that now. I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Well, I really don't like country music, but what I can really appreciate is like I'm pretty into music theory, so I'll like listen to the scales and the chords that they use, and that's where I'll find what is worthwhile to me in that music when I listen to it. So it's like sometimes you really got to look. Like, you really have to be open to all different possibilities to think, okay, so where could the beauty in this be? Because, I mean, if it looks dismissible, then you're not seeing it, you know?
Yeah. You gotta, it's so elaborate. You can get so elaborate with that because, like, literally every single thing, but everyone's different. So,
exactly.
their reasoning can make no sense to you.
Right.
And you're just gonna be like, wow. I mean, it just shows you how different people are.
It's a new perspective.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different perspective.
Right.
Which is a huge thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. I wish everyone understood the power of perspective. Like, I'm trying to think of a really good example of where perspective really matters.
Well, this is not a concrete example. It's more of an abstract example, but I think it works with your point. I honestly find talking to people really different than me. Like, people that are on the complete opposite side of the spectrum from me in terms of personality. Those are the most fun people to talk to. Because everything they say, it makes you consider something new. It makes you think, like, when I talk to people, like, it blows my mind.
I
love gathering a bunch of perspectives.
A great way to do that is to force yourself. So, just as an example, Republicans, Democrats.
Perfect example.
Right? Perspective is the ability to take yourself out of your shoes and go and look at both sides of the situation and analyze the perspective behind each side.
Right.
Which I think is going to be sweet in like 2040 or something when our generation will have a president. I feel like they'll be so much more open-minded, you know, where they can see both sides and they're not just heavy Democrat, heavy Republican. I feel like there could be a neutral one.
There needs to be
eventually.
a better balance.
Yeah.
It really does.
I think to your point, Ty, I can't like, that cannot be repeated enough. Every single person's point of view, even the people that do horrible things, like, and this might get me canceled for saying, but even Hitler's point of view had a tiny, tiny grain of truth to it. It was obviously, like, completely horrible, but, like, even the perspectives that look extremely dismissible, kind of like what we've been saying, there's a grain of truth to every single person's perspective.
What do you think the truth behind his was?
See, I was just using that as an example. If you put me, I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously, if he convinced that many people.
Yeah. I mean, for the record, I completely denounce Hitler and the Nazi Party.
Denounce Hitler.
I completely distance myself from that. That was horrible.
It was unexpected, but I mean.
Okay.
I guess.
I could see your perspective on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think here, I just thought of something. I think it's important for a nation to be unified under a single narrative. I think Hitler did that really well, and I think he took it way too far.
Way too far.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like ethno-nationalist, like, obviously that's horrible, but I do think it's really necessary for people to be united under at least something.
Mm-hmm. Stand for something.
Yeah, because right.
We stand.
And we stand, yeah.
That was kind of a weird tangent.
It was a weird tangent. I wasn't expecting it, but, you know, I love the unexpected stuff because it forms a new neuron in your brain.
The unexpected. I don't know if it forms a new neuron, but a new neural pathway. Yes.
No, yeah, a neural pathway.
New thoughts lead to new information, which leads to new choices, and those new choices
lead to
new behaviors, which lead to new emotions.
Yeah, and then yeah.
And those new emotions or behaviors can create new experiences.
And then new experiences create more new emotions.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just the cycle.
You just gotta get out of your normal cycle though, you know? Like so many people are trapped in doing the same damn thing every day, bro.
Oh my gosh, dude. If you're in the repetitive cycle every single day, like you wake up out of bed and you have the same routine. You're thinking the same thoughts. You're doing the same thing. You're strengthening your neural pathways in your brain. So you're actually making your neural pathways bigger. Physically bigger, which in the long run makes that habit or that routine harder to break. So as much as you can do a new experience, like take a different route to work, don't drink coffee in the morning, drink like a big water or something. Mm-hmm. It changes the thoughts in your brain and breaks your routine. And then, like, a lot of people feel stuck in their routines.
So many.
When you feel stuck in your routines,
It should be a sign.
Negative emotions pop up, and that should be your cue. When the negativity pops up into your brain, that's a cue that you need a change.
Yeah. Negative emotions are a call for change.
Right. I think just to kind of add on to what you're saying, Ty, to kind of go off what you're saying, that idea really reminds me of an idea from Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil. He talks about this thing called hypnotic rhythm. And I think it's exactly like the snowball effect, what you mentioned earlier. As you do things, you get better at doing those things until it gets to the point where you're just doing them like autonomously. You're not even thinking about them. That's kind of what habits are. Another thing that Joe Dispenza said, a habit is when your body knows better than your mind, which I think is another great point. But I think when you get deep into those habits, that's when they're the hardest to break. So the longer you do something, the harder it's going to be able to not do that. Like, I mean, breaking habits is a hard thing to do, period. And the longer you do something, the harder the habit becomes to break.
Yeah, like smoking cigarettes, perfect example.
Yeah.
Well, that like changes your brain like biologically though, because your nicotine receptors like are craving that feeling. So
yeah, that's just triggering dopamine, which is an addictive chemical in the brain.
Like your phone is a dopamine.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. So many things are dopamine.
Dopamine casino.
Yeah.
Dopamine casino.
Sugar, like stimuli on your phone.
Yeah.
Anything, drugs, alcohol, any of that stuff triggers the dopamine receptors.
I wish you could like really feel what dopamine release feels like. You know what I mean? Like you can, but like you can't like physically, like when I turn on my phone, it releases obviously when I have a new notification, but like I wish it really stood out, the feeling.
You can notice that feeling.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
just pay attention to how you feel when you're not on your phone, and then open your phone and go to like your favorite game or a text message with your girlfriend or boyfriend. What doesn't matter, whatever. Like a Snapchat, you get that dopamine rush, and you can, if you really try to notice it, you can feel it.
Yeah, that was almost verbatim what I was gonna say. If you deprive yourself of that, like the novel information that comes from your phone that releases dopamine, if you deprive yourself from that and you come to like a place where you're kind of like in an equilibrium with dopamine, so you're not receiving it in any weird doses, like when you're only getting it from the things that you would naturally get it from, which is like getting closer to your goals, that's when you really feel it the most.
Yeah, I did like 2 weeks ago I did a dopamine detox. So I just put my phone away for like 6 hours, didn't do anything but read and like sit in the grass and meditate, and it was fucking awesome, dude. Like to be able to control my mind to think about any like other than pointless shit on my phone, like, and really focus my thoughts onto success and obsessing myself with my goals. It was like a life-changing day almost, because like it really opened my eyes to be like, all right, I gotta put my phone down sometimes and just let my thoughts run their
just take
course.
A step back.
I think that's so important. That's a great way of putting it, a dopamine detox.
I wanted to go back onto the thought that you had earlier about how a habit is like when your body knows better than your mind.
Right.
So to elaborate on that, the body is kind of like your subconscious. Like, you know how you play sport and then it's just it's natural. Like that habit has been drilled into your mind so much that your body's receptors, it's muscle memory at that point.
Exactly.
So your body is your subconscious in a way, and your conscious mind like doesn't even have to control it anymore, because you've done it repeatedly over time, and you're just so good at it.
Yeah, that's procedural memory, right? Yeah.
Correct. Just wanted to elaborate on that.
Yeah, so like brushing your teeth, that's straight subconscious. Like some people just autopilot, pick up toothpaste, toothbrush.
Yep. And then you go do something else while you're brushing your teeth.
And then you kind of gotta think a little bit.
Multitasking.
You kind of gotta think a little bit though.
Like, all right, go to the right side, go to the left.
Sometimes you forget you're even brushing.
Then you just end up leaving it in your mouth. You're just like, all right, I can't do this at the same time.
Chilling on the computer, 10 minutes later, toothbrush still in your mouth.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Toothpaste leaking out.
How many minutes is that at?
25.
Wow. Money? Cash?
Should be cash.
Cash
money. I mean, yeah. All right. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you actually watched that whole thing,
goddamn.
It's a dap up over the screen, but yeah, filming another one of these Johns on on Wednesday of next week. So I always post before I drop them. So just be looking at my Snapchat, my Instagram, and yeah, I appreciate you guys staying.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, fellas.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Peace out.